Welcome to Leading Beyond Limits, the podcast where we explore the extraordinary journeys and insights of remarkable leaders who have pushed the boundaries of what's possible. Your host, Angel Radcliffe, who is a digital transformation leader, author, speaker, and financial educator, will lead each episode and dive deep into the stories, strategies, and philosophies that have empowered these exceptional individuals to lead, inspire, and achieve beyond the ordinary. We're about to embark on a journey of discovery and inspiration, and together, we'll learn what it takes to lead beyond limits. So grab your cape, or at least your favorite coffee mug, because we're about to unravel the extraordinary tales of trailblazers who've turned impossible into I'm possible. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It's honestly so great to be back in the studio with you.
It is good to be back.
We've got a stack of notes today that, I'm not going to lie, it gave me a bit of a stomachache when I was prepping.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. Usually, we're diving into tech trends or maybe historical mysteries, things that feel a bit removed.
Right, a little distant.
But today we're looking in the mirror.
A mirror is. Yeah, that's the perfect way to describe it.
It really is.
And, before we jump into the deep end, I do want to say a huge thank you to Angel for letting us cover another one of these leadership micro-scenarios from the Leading Beyond Limits series. We've done a few, and they just keep getting more intense.
They do. And I'm really glad we're circling back to this because, as we've talked about, these aren't your typical business school case studies.
Not at all. There's no spreadsheet attached to this.
Right. No correct answer key at the back. These scenarios, they're designed to simulate, the fog of war. They target that agonizing gap between knowing the theory of leadership and actually doing it when the pressure's on.
When your heart rate is up.
Exactly.
It's one thing to read about crisis management in a comfortable chair. Yeah. It's another thing entirely to be the one holding the bag.
For sure.
So let's get into the scenario for today. It is short, it is brutal, and it centers on just this single terrifying realization. Here's the text.
Okay.
Your plan is dead. Are you the last to know?
Ooh, it just stops you in your tracks, doesn't it?
It really does. I want to unpack that first sentence. Your plan is dead. Not your plan is struggling or
needs a pivot.
Right. Or we need to optimize. Dead. Why that specific, violent language?
Yeah.
It feels aggressive.
It's meant to be aggressive. It's meant to be final.
Okay.
In the corporate world, we're masters of euphemism. We talk about headwinds, recalibration.
Strategic realignment.
Exactly. All that soft language to mask the hard realities because, it feels safer. But dead implies that no amount of resuscitation is going to work. The biological function of the project has just ceased.
Right. And admitting that is terrifying.
It is. And the reason that language is so difficult for leaders to swallow is because leaders are conditioned to be the fixers.
That's a good point.
You're paid to solve problems. If something is broken, you fix it. So if a plan is dead, it feels like admitting you failed at your primary job description.
We tie our competence to the survival of the plan.
But there is a deeper psychological layer here. It's about the illusion of control. Think about what a strategic plan actually is. It's a document where we try to impose our will on the future. We say, in Q3, the market will do X, so we will do Y. It's a security blanket.
It's a shield against chaos. As long as I have that binder with the Gantt chart, I'm safe.
Exactly. So when the plan dies, it means the chaos of reality has breached your defenses. It means your prediction was wrong. And for a leader, that's not just a logistical failure.
It's an identity crisis.
A total identity crisis.
Which brings us to the second half of the prompt. And this is where the tension it really ratchets up. Are you the last to know? Now, I have to play devil's advocate here. I read this and I thought, how is that actually possible? The leader is the one with the dashboard.
Right.
They have the 30,000-foot view. They have the reports. Theoretically, shouldn't they be the first to know?
In a perfect world, yes. But organizations, they aren't perfect worlds. There's a very real phenomenon that happens. Information fights gravity.
Fights gravity?
Yeah, it has a very hard time flowing up. We sometimes call it the green shift.
The green shift. I haven't heard that one.
So imagine a project is failing. The engineer on the ground, they know it's red, total disaster. The code doesn't work.
Right.
They tell their manager. The manager is worried about their quarterly bonus, or maybe they just don't want to get yelled at. So they report it up as amber.
At risk, but manageable.
Right. manageable with some overtime.
I see where this is going.
The director gets that amber report, scrubs the nuances to make it look cleaner for the VP, and reports it as, say, green with minor challenges.
And by the time it hits the leader's desk,
a catastrophe looks like a minor hiccup. So structurally, yes, the leader is insulated.
okay, so the leader is being lied to, or at least misled by the system.
That is part of it.
Yeah.
But I think the scenario points to something much more uncomfortable.
Which is?
It suggests the leader isn't just the last to know because of bad data. They're the last to know because they are the most invested in the fantasy.
So it's not just that people are hiding it from them. It's that they don't want to see it.
Precisely. Think about sunk cost, but also confirmation bias on steroids.
Okay.
You, the leader, you pitched this plan to the board. You fought for the budget. You hired the team. Your reputation is anchored to this specific vision of the future.
So when you look at the data,
Your brain is actively rewiring itself to ignore the warning signs.
you see a drop in sales and think seasonal anomaly, not product market rejection.
Exactly, because the alternative is just too painful to look at. The frontline employee, they have no emotional attachment to the Strategic Vision 2025 PDF. They just see that the software doesn't work. They see the dead plan immediately. But the leader is wearing these rose-colored glasses that they ground and polish themselves.
Wow. We literally gaslight ourselves because the cost of being wrong feels too high.
We do. And that leads us right to the barrier. The scenario talks about this idea of conviction in the gray area. So let's say, deep down, the leader does suspect the plan is dead. That gut feeling is there. The team is quiet in meetings. Why do they hesitate?
I assume they're waiting for proof. They want to be sure.
That's what they tell themselves. I just need more data. Let's wait for the Q4 numbers. They want validation. They want 100% irrefutable proof before they call the coroner.
They want to be able to point to a chart and say, see, I had no choice.
They want to outsource the decision to the data so they don't have to be the bad guy. But here's the catch, and the scenario makes this point brilliantly. Leadership is the way you decide. If you wait until the data is 100% clear, you're not leading anymore. You're just reading the news.
And the opportunity to pivot, to save resources, that's already gone.
It's past, gone.
But that's terrifying. Acting without 100% certainty feels reckless. If I cancel a major initiative based on a strong indicator, and I'm wrong, I'm the villain.
Right, I'm the one who killed the golden goose.
Yes.
And that is the crux of the high-stakes decision. That discomfort with risk and accountability. The hesitation, it's not usually about a lack of information.
The signs are there.
The signs are almost always there. The hesitation is about the fear of owning the chaos that comes next.
Because the moment you say the plan is dead, you create a vacuum.
You create absolute chaos. You have to explain to the board why you burned $2 million. You have to tell the team their hard work was for nothing. You have to restructure. It's so much easier emotionally to just say, let's give it one more quarter.
Delay the pain.
But you amplify the damage.
Significantly. And it destroys trust.
Yes, because your team knows. They're waiting for you to say it. And every day you don't, they lose a little bit more respect for you. They start to wonder, does he not see it? Or is he just too scared to admit it?
That connects right back to the goal of this series, that gap between knowing and doing.
Yeah.
Intellectually, we all know sunk cost. If I gave you a quiz on it, you'd ace it. But emotionally, doing the cut.
It feels like failing. And that gap, that's where careers are made or broken. It is easy to be a leader when the graph is going up and to the right. Leadership is defined by how you behave in that gray area, where the old map is gone and the new one hasn't been drawn yet.
Speaking of maps, I want to pivot to one of the core concepts in this scenario, the agility asset. It uses this metaphor I found really helpful, the map versus the terrain.
A classic mental model, but it applies so perfectly here. The map is your strategic plan. The terrain is, well, it's reality.
And usually at the start, the map and the terrain look pretty similar.
Hopefully. But the terrain is dynamic. It shifts. Competitors launch new products. Regulations change.
A pandemic happens.
A pandemic happens. The terrain shifts under your feet. The tension arises when the terrain changes, but the leader is still just staring at the map.
But the map says we should be at the summit by Tuesday.
Exactly. This dead plan scenario is essentially a leader standing at the edge of a newly formed cliff, looking at their paper map that shows a road, and deciding to drive forward because the map says there's a road.
When you put it that way, it sounds insane. But we do this in business every day. We manage to the metric, not the reality.
That is valuing the map over the terrain. The scenario argues that control is an illusion, agility is the asset. The agile leader is the one who can look at the cliff, fold up the map, and say, okay, the terrain has changed, we need a new route.
I love that phrase, listening to the terrain.
But let's get practical for a second. What does that actually look like in a boardroom? It sounds poetic, but how do you listen? It requires a profound level of humility. It means prioritizing observation over prediction. A leader who's listening to the terrain is actively seeking disconfirming evidence.
So they're not asking, how are we winning?
No, they're asking, where are we wrong?
That is a brutally hard question to ask.
It is,
Yeah.
especially when you came up with the plan. It means sitting down with your team and saying, forget the slide deck, what is actually happening, and then, this is the hardest part, actually believing them over your own plan.
The scenario also brings up this distinction between the where and the how.
Mm-hmm.
Being anchored in the where, but flexible on the how.
This is the antidote to the dead plan. If your destination, the where, is we want to be the market leader in customer service, that's your anchor. That doesn't change.
Okay.
But the how, the specific path, maybe it was a chatbot, a call center, a mobile app, that has to be flexible. The dead plan usually happens when a leader falls in love with the how.
We fall in love with the vehicle.
Yes. We fall in love with the specific project, the technology, and we forget the destination. So when the vehicle breaks down, instead of getting out and walking, we just sit in the broken car trying to restart the engine.
While the competition runs right past us.
Exactly.
So, let's say we've done the hard work. We've realized the plan is dead. We know we need to pivot. But we still have to make that call. The outline mentions refining the decision-maker's edge. It talks about choosing judgment over certainty.
This goes right back to what we touched on earlier. In these high-stakes environments, data is historical. Data tells you what happened yesterday. Judgment tells you what's likely to happen tomorrow.
But judgment, that sounds a lot like guessing to the analytical mind. If I go to my CFO and say, my judgment says we stop, they're going to laugh me out of the room.
It isn't guessing, it's pattern recognition. It's what we call intuitive expertise. Think about a seasoned firefighter when they walk into a burning building and suddenly yell, "Get out!" right before the floor collapses.
They aren't guessing.
No. Their brain has processed temperature, sound, airflow, structural groans faster than their conscious mind can explain.
So in business, that gut feeling that a project is doomed isn't just anxiety. It's data processing happening below the surface.
Exactly. You've seen hundreds of projects, you know what success feels like, and you know what failure smells like. Refining the decision-maker's edge means learning to trust that signal even when the spreadsheet hasn't caught up yet. It's about developing self-trust.
There is one tactical piece here that I think is really counterintuitive, and I want to spend a moment on it. The scenario emphasizes the role of silence, the power of the pause. My instinct, if I realize my plan is dead, is to immediately start plan B. Panic mode. Quick, everyone, get in a room, let's brainstorm.
And that is the most common mistake. It's a defense mechanism. We rush to the solution to avoid feeling the pain of the failure. But the scenario warns against this. It says you can't build a viable new reality on top of the unacknowledged wreckage of the old one.
Unacknowledged wreckage. That is a heavy phrase.
You have to stop. You have to call the meeting and say, out loud, this plan is dead, we are stopping. And then you just need a moment of stillness. You need to let that sink in.
Why? Is it just for emotional processing? Or is there a strategic value?
It is intensely strategic. If you rush into plan B immediately, you're bringing all the panic, all the sunk cost bias, all the exhaustion from plan A into the new strategy. You're just going to build another dead plan.
Right.
The pause lets you reset your situational awareness. It lets you look at the terrain with fresh eyes, not eyes clouded by panic.
It feels like doing nothing, though.
Yeah.
And leaders hate doing nothing.
It feels like doing nothing, but it's actually the most active thing a leader can do. It's holding the space for the truth to land. It signals to the team, I see the reality, I'm not in denial, I'm assessing. That builds massive trust. A leader who pauses to assess inspires confidence. A leader who runs around throwing darts at the wall
Just looks desperate.
just looks desperate.
It's the difference between responding and reacting. So as we wrap up this deep dive, we promised we wouldn't give a 3-step checklist to fix your dead plan.
No checklist today. If we gave you a checklist, we'd just be giving you another map to cling to. And the whole point of this is learning how to navigate when there is no map.
Instead, we want to leave you with an invitation to reflect. This scenario is really a prompt for a self-audit.
As you go back to your work today, just look at your projects, your strategic pillars, And ask yourself the uncomfortable question.
Where are you holding onto a map that no longer matches the terrain?
Is there a project where everyone goes quiet when you ask about it? Is there a metric you're constantly making excuses for? And then ask yourself, what am I afraid will happen if I admit this is dead?
Yeah.
Usually, you'll find the fear is about your own ego or your fear of visibility, not the actual business reality.
This conversation, it's just one part of the bigger picture. This is from that 52 Weeks of High-Stakes Decisions series. We really want to hear how this lands with you.
Yes, these scenarios are designed to be discussed. Go to Angel's LinkedIn page. You'll find the post for this specific one. Read the comments. It is fascinating to see how leaders from different industries handle this gray area.
Yeah.
Some kill the plan immediately, others pivot. Seeing that diversity of thought is where the real learning happens.
Have you ever been the last to know? Have you had to kill a zombie plan you loved? Share your story. Before we sign off, I want to leave you with that final provocation from the scenario. We talked about the cost of hesitation.
If your plan is dead and you don't know it yet, who is paying the price for that delay?
It's usually not you, it's your team. Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
See you next time.
Thank you for tuning into another inspiring episode of Leading Beyond Limits. If you enjoyed today's conversation and want to hear more from our incredible guests, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us. And if you have a remarkable leader in mind who you'd like to hear on our show or any questions and comments, feel free to reach out to us. You can find our contact information in the show notes. Remember, leadership knows no bounds, and with the right insights and determination, you too can lead beyond limits. Until next time, keep reaching for the stars and leading with purpose.